Well,
It would be too many
Good
people.
It
morning.
would be too many.
I'd like to welcome you to the Tuesday, January 24th meeting of the St. Joseph County Board of Commissioners. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Well, first item on the agenda is our accounts payable docket. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve?
I'll second that.
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote? Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next item is something that's always enjoyable to recognize one of our outstanding employees. This time the employee for the month of January. Yep.
Our employee of the month for January is Renita Williams. Renita is a disease investigation specialist in nursing with the Department of Health. She is recognized by her peers by her pleasant personality, bright smile, exceptional work ethic, and continued educational pursuits. Her current supervisor is Jody Byritz, who tells us Renata has always been a great employee. She steps up to help with animal bites and to help Lori with contact tracing. She is organized and handles the responsibility of lead delegation like a pro. Renata, we appreciate knowledge you have brought to the Department of Health and wish to congratulate you on being our St. Joseph County Employee of the Month.
You're allotted 5 minutes to talk.
Oh, I wasn't
Or if anybody
expecting.
else from your department wants to say anything about her?
I will say that I appreciate the award or certificate to be honored for something that I do so normally day to day. To be recognized for that is my honor to help promote health within the St. Joe County and help the residents or point them in the right direction whenever they're looking for services.
Well, thank you so much for all
Anybody
your,
We
else?
appreciate
I love
what you
helping
do.
people too.
I thought so.
You thought so.
Last year I nominated Renata, so I'm glad that it finally came back up. But she is a remarkable young woman. She started in food service and hit the ground running in the midst of COVID, new to not only the department, but new to this aspect of health. And she has never stopped, looking and excelling in education. And her heart and her passion is to help people. And so she is an asset. And so although we lost her in foods, we didn't lose her because she stayed in our department, and she's still here to help the community.
Beautifully said, Ms. Carolyn. Beautifully said.
You want to get, oh, you don't want to walk around, huh? No. Oh.
Let's stand on here so it doesn't look tacky with the table in front of us.
Yeah, go ahead,
Yeah,
Walker.
yeah, I know. Here, hold on.
Let's see, Mark, do you want to get in the picture too?
Good job.
Thank you.
Sure.
I can,
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank
yeah.
you.
Congratulations.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That'll be on our county homepage. You guys can stay.
5'7".
Thanks,
Frank.
Yep.
Thanks. Thank you.
I don't know, Fort County Business or something? Thank you.
You didn't stay for me, Miss Carolyn. I'm up next. All right. Thank you.
Next, we would like to honor our youth of the month for December. There she goes.
There. Yes. Okay, right there.
Follow on next to her.
Yeah.
ahead and read that.
Okay. The Youth of the Month for December is Frances Franny Parks. Franny is a senior at Mishawaka High School
Hey!
and has played soccer for them for 4 years. In those 4 years, she has helped win 39 games. Yes. And she has become Mishawaka's all-time scoring leader with 135 goals. All right. She was first team Northern Indiana Conference her freshman and sophomore years, and all conference in the Northern Lakes Conference her junior year.
And senior.
We wish her luck, as we have heard that she will continue to play soccer and continue her studies at Jackson College next year. We want to congratulate you on being our Youth of the Month for December. Thank you so much.
Mr. Churches will get a ball and he will challenge you to go one-on-one.
Beat you.
To see if I really can. She'll get you.
Franny, would you like to say something?
I'm just very thankful for this award and am honored to be honored for it. So that's all I have to say.
It's great to have you here. and
Thank you.
Recognize your achievements.
Thank you.
Why don't you join us for a photo?
It's a fan.
What do you want to show that bicycle kick thing you've been working on?
I retired it after.
That World Cup rubbed off on him.
It's 2 hours away from here in Michigan.
In Jackson,
Yeah,
Michigan.
Jackson, Michigan.
That's what I thought, but I wasn't sure.
If you guys want to be, we can get people
We
to.
can get,
Yeah, do you have any family members want to join her?
We will take a picture. Come on, Sherry.
Absolutely, just
Frank can multitask all of us.
Yep, you do all. Thank you.
could be, could not be.
We're gonna need to scoot in a bit to squeeze in.
What's Dean doing today?
Hi.
Hello.
Finishing up on the Bachelor? show, or-
No, go ahead. I can zoom.
Sing our Mishawaka. March on down today.
We're good. Thank you.
And then you guys will get an invite because on February 21st, we have everybody that's won through the year, we have a big banquet at the Fire Hall on Lincoln Way. So we'll let you guys know for that.
Thank you so much.
Please come.
Thank you.
No problem. Have fun today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations, young lady.
Good field. Always need business.
I'm like, nice to see you.
Yeah.
Allow me to go forward. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome, thanks for coming today.
I was there a little bit after. A little bit after.
A little bit.
She could have been my daughter.
Make my Mishawaka's.
Juggles on one foot.
She's very talented.
Never seen him at the tailgates. He's got this stuff down.
Oh. I have a son now, so yes, yes.
Okay, the next item is approval of agreement for tax sale legal services. Mr. Mish.
Yes, so we've got, typically Mitch Heppenheimer handles these for the county. There's a conflict of interest and his representation in this matter. It's something that will likely take a while to unwind the issue that's presented here. So Mitch recommended an individual who I believe represents about 80 counties across the state to handle this matter. He's agreed to represent the county at our standard rate. So we've asked him to, or we're asking you to consider hiring him and approve this agreement.
As usual. Questions?
Fine.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Any questions?
So we're gonna be hired the Buchanan, Buggensmith, and they're gonna be doing the tax sale,
Tax sale legal
legal
services.
services. Good. Is that, you think that's?
It's related to one specific litigation matter.
Okay, all right, good, that's what I thought.
Good. Well, if there's no other questions or comments, do we have a motion?
Move for approval.
Second,
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
aye?
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote? Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye. Moving on to the Department of Health, approval of the NACCHO overdose prevention contract.
Amy Rupie, Administrator for the Department of Health, offices on the 8th and 9th floor of the County City Building. On October 9th, 2022, we received support from the County Commissioners to apply for the grant before you, which is from the National Association of the County and City Health Officials, which is focusing on health equity and overdose prevention. In large part due to the great work by our Director of Hope, Robin Vita, regarding substance abuse and drug overdose, the Department of Health has been awarded the grant and asked to be a mentor to not one, but to 2 different health departments. The first being Greenville Health Department, which is located in Wisconsin, and the other being Lorain County Public Health Department, which is located in Ohio. The grant award amount is $50,000 per county being mentored for a total of $100,000. In the budget that we submitted, we did include salary recovery for 6 current Department of Health staff, which would be working on the grant. So we would recover around $36,000 of that $100,000 of the award back to us. Happy to answer any questions.
Is that something that you would have to apply for every year if you want to continue? And do you have a projected, or how many overdoses were in St. Joe County last year?
I'm going to defer to Robin for that information.
Yeah, Robin Vita, St. Joseph County Department of Health, offices 8th and 9th floor of this building. In 2022, we had 95 overdoses with 4 still pending.
Okay. And is there a projection of, with this grant and the prevention criteria if you put out, do you have like, we will reduce 20%, 50%?
Yep, so some of the monies that we will receive through the grant will increase access to Narcan or naloxone, the opioid reversal drug. So as we see more access, we'll hopefully see less fatality. And then really working on prevalence of non-fatal overdoses is key. Part of this grant will bring together stakeholders that are already working in this space, but be able to provide them small stipends to support the work that ultimately, yes, will lead to a decrease in overdose fatality.
Okay. So once that's implemented and a year rolls out, can you come back with the data?
Of course,
So
I'd love to.
we can throw in there?
Yeah.
And does that have, well, I'll talk to you later about suicide stuff.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
I'm also your person for that, so that's great.
You play softball?
No, soccer. So my Mishawaka high schooler there was,
He's another player.
yeah, good, yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
Any other questions for either?
Move
If
for
not, do
approval.
we
Sounds like something to
have a
do.
motion?
Move for approval.
Second?
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job, thanks.
Moving on to maintenance, approval of the elevator service agreements for the Mishawaka Courts facility and the County City Building. Brian?
Good morning, Brian Davidson, Building Engineer for St. Joseph County, offices at 227 West Jefferson in the basement. Looking for approval for our elevator service agreement that includes the Mishawaka Annex and the 8 elevators that are located at this complex. There was a slight increase, which would be expected, a 3.5% increase. That's to cover escalated material and labor costs. That comes to a total of $43,211.52.
Kirby?
To cover the law building.
Does that cover the law building?
Yes, it does.
The only other elevators that we have that are not on this contract, that has, the jail is under Otis and JJC is under Con.
What's the time element for whatever they're gonna do?
This is our service contract, that anything that breaks on those elevators, this covers our labor and material, with the exception of, the only thing this doesn't cover, someone came through here with a delivery, rams a cart through the door, knocks it off track. Since that was inflicted to the elevator, they don't cover that. But as far as parts and stuff like that, that's what this contract covers.
Are they upgrading the speed of the elevator in the law library?
And the what?
The speed? The elevator in the law library?
Wall building? Yeah, that's a hydro unit. That's
Slow.
the only, and that elevator, with what you're wanting to do with upgrades and stuff and projected time, that elevator, because of its height, could be updated to what they call they could put in an elevator system that doesn't require a mechanical room. So as long as we have the head clearance, once that car has stopped at the 3rd floor, if we have at least a 9-foot clearance above that, we could put the mechanical up there, which would make that a traction elevators as opposed to a hydro. The new ones run off a serpentine belt system as opposed to a steel cable. That would make that elevator a lot faster as far as floor to floor.
And I would assume that's pretty expensive.
A lot cheaper now than what they're used to. If we was to put in a new hydro, the cost of a new traction unit, I think, would be fairly close or about the same.
Well, just to be clear, what you said a moment ago, we're looking to do a facility condition assessment of all of our facilities, but that's still in the planning stages. But appreciate you mentioning that. A good point.
Well, again, I just have a question because I know, gosh, a few years ago that I approved and we moved forward with the new elevators. So, right, here,
Correct.
those are new, right?
Yeah.
And there were times when like, I'm like, oh my gosh, these elevators aren't working now, what? But now they seem so, is there an issue with that, or is everything gonna be better now with this, or?
As far as the 4 elevators here, that was a complete
Yeah,
remodel. That
it was
was
completely
mechanics, that was
redone, yes.
electronics, everything. And
Because I
that,
wanted to make sure that they made it okay, that people didn't get caught in there, or, oh my
no,
gosh.
I think,
Because that
and it
happened
usually
before.
takes a 8-month to a year time period to work out all the tweaks on them, but I think we're, as far as stuff being shut down, I think we've been pretty productive on that.
We certainly should, in my opinion, continue with the elevator service contracts. Any other questions?
So, but we're not going to get new ones over at the court place, right? They're just gonna be
This is
updated.
strictly, I'm sorry,
I'll make a motion to approve the service agreement.
just to maintain.
It's just, that's what I thought, but I didn't know how, if we should get any, anyway. But yeah, I think that's good, and I appreciate your help. Thank you so much.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the elevator service contracts. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote? Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Yay.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to infrastructure planning and growth. First item is the 2023 LPA Community Crossings Matching Grant.
Sky Meadows, Department of Infrastructure Planning and Growth, offices on the 7th and 11th floor. What this is the, each year since 2016, we've applied for a Community Crossings Matching Grant, which was a 50-50 grant, up to $1 million a year. And each year we have to have the board, member of the board sign the letter saying we will commit this amount of funds to it. The letter itself is hot off the press because we've been working the numbers with the estimates and so forth. And mainly what we're looking at is a match of $2.3 million, which would be available through local roads and streets program and our NBH fund. One thing I want to add to that is, as we were going through the numbers, we ended up, of course, we always end up higher than the budget allows. Ended up cutting. It got to a point where I thought we were fine, but we had to cut more. So just to give you an idea, pre-COVID, the Community Crossings grant that we applied for was for 6.9 miles of road, and it was about $2.3 million. This year, we're applying for 7.1 miles of road. Sorry, I said that wrong. 6.9 miles in 2020 for $2.3 million. That was all pre-COVID. This year, 2023, using the most recent unit prices for materials and labor, 7.1 miles of road is costing us $3.2 million. So this is a problem that it's not going to go away, where, you know, we have the same resources in place, but costs have escalated substantially. Luckily, over the past year or so, the council and the commissioners have approved money from the ARP funding to help supplement some of that previously for previous projects. So it hasn't hit us as hard because we've been able to do more paving, but it's still costing us more. So I just wanted to throw that out there, but I would request that, and this just requires President Baxmeyer's signature, that you guys approve Mr. Baxmeyer signing the financial letter for the community crossings grant.
Who are you competing against for matching, or they?
It's the whole state.
Okay.
Yeah, and mainly we're money that we used to get per the equation in 2016, we now have to compete to get it. So there hasn't been a year that we've been unsuccessful in getting it though.
So a mile of road is roughly 800 grand?
Well, about, we're looking at, based on these numbers, at about 400 grand, $400,000. Yeah. Whereas in the past, we used about 200 or so as a benchmark for per mile of road, so.
So now it's gonna be 400,000
Yes. Yeah. And so we're,
that we have to pay for it?
yeah. So we're looking at,
Money to help.
yeah, so we're looking at other ways that we can possibly maybe work to do some more things in-house to maybe reduce that cost. We've talked to possibly maybe doing some of our own paving.
Last year we did how many miles of roads?
We contracted for 40 miles of roads.
And we did,
That's just paving. We also chip sealed another 50, I believe. So we did about 90 miles of roads last year.
that was a record for St. Joe County.
As far as the paving, yeah.
And just for the record, to put it into context, total miles of roads
Total? Yeah, total
that we're responsible.
right, yeah. Total miles of roads that we are responsible for, approximately 1,200 center line miles of roads. So we're trying to come up with ways to maintain, more cost-effective ways to maintain the roads and try to deal with this cost increase.
There's a lot of brick buildings in town. If we tear those down, you don't want to use the bricks?
That would cost, that would be about $600,000 per mile.
Let's not go down that road.
No.
So we're hoping to get
This is
$1
from,
million back, is that right?
Right, the maximum of the grant is $1 million.
Yeah, that's what I,
Yes.
okay, that would help.
Yeah, it would.
there being no other questions or comments, do we have a motion?
For approval?
Second?
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote? Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next, approval of the professional services agreement for demolition of residential properties on Douglas Road.
So before you today is a professional service agreement from Christopher B. Burke Engineering to provide pre-demolition services for 2 residential properties on Douglas Road. The properties are 14402 and 14380 Douglas Road. These are between the Canadian National Railroad tracks and Capitol Avenue. We, the commissioners, own the property at 14402, and on February 8th, we'll own the property at 14380 Douglas Road. So what this contract would do would be do phase 1 environmental services, demolition quote documents and quote assistance, and then construction observation services. Total fee service for this work is $20,800. It's a not to exceed amount, and the commission approved this at their January 10th meeting and would ask for your approval of this agreement, please.
We looked at other proposals, or are they the only sole?
This is the sole company that we went to for this proposal.
Just for context, how does that cost align with similar?
It's right in line with what we average, the average services for demolition for what we pay for the pre-development. You have to pay for phase 1, you have to do all the well and septic closure reports and all those things. So all of this pre-work is part of that.
There's a lot more to it than the average person.
There is, especially in this particular case, we're actually removing everything to clear it for future reuse. So we want to make sure everything's out of the ground and everything's clear and ready to go, so.
No other questions? Do we have a motion?
For approval.
Second?
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote? Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next, we have approval of professional services proposal for the St. Joseph County Grant Support Services with the Antero Group.
Yeah, so before you today is this professional service proposal from the Antero Group to provide grant support services to close out the FEMA grant as well as the USEDA fiber grant that we have received, both of those through the IP&G office. There's 3 grants, 2 FEMA, 1 EDA. What we'd like to do, we're at the end point of both of these grants and just need to get all the documentation prepared, make sure we do all the final reimbursements, get everything put together. So this is set as a not to exceed format of $55,000, payable on a monthly basis. I don't think we're gonna hit anywhere near this 55,000. Within each of the grants is a professional services or contractual services line, so this will be paid from actually within the grant itself, so it's no additional funds out. But we'd like to use this so we can get these grants closed so that Terry and I can work on other things and not try to recreate this work, so.
It's pretty standard to have closeout funds earmarked in the grant.
Right. They'll help us get a grant, right?
Well, they help us close them out.
Close them out.
We've already done them, so we just gotta close
Keep
the.
'em.
Yep.
Okay.
Any questions? Negative. There being none, do we have a motion? Approved.
Second?
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote? Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Finally, approval of abatement contracts with ARK Construction Group and Hensley Trucking.
Abby Wiles, APC Director, IPG offices on 7th and 11th floors. In the spring of last year, we let requests for quotes for abatement services, including mowing and cleanup for our St. Joe County Code Enforcement Program, and we didn't have any quotes at that time. We've worked over the last year to relationship build and find folks in the community that were willing to contract with us for these services. We have one contractor with us, JAAS General Contracting, but we would like to enter into contracts with Hensley Trucking and ARC Construction Group that would help with mowing and cleanup for the code enforcement program. These are all essentially bid individually on a case-by-case basis. We, as part of the agreement, request quotes from the contractors and then can authorize up to a set amount. That's $2,500. Anything over $2,500 is reviewed with the procurement director, and we'll follow the same process with the 2 folks that we're looking to bring on as we do with our existing contractor. I've been asked why not just go with 1, why have 3? We've learned from towing, it's great to have a bench of companies to be able to go back to because we're a large county. We have a lot of work, and it helps to have a bench of companies to go to.
So the work they're doing is mowing?
So the general abatement contract, non-towing includes mowing and cleanup. One has indicated they would prefer not to do mowing. The other one has agreed to provide estimates and work with us on mowing and cleanup.
Is that, actually, over the weekend, somebody sent a thing to me about mowing and stuff. Are they still able to contact you to get into that group, or?
Oh, yes.
Okay, I'll get him. Roosevelt Green will be his name, so I will have him send stuff to you.
So basically what's before you, and then Ms. Ecker drafted these contracts. It's just a boilerplate contract that we've been using for all of our abatement services.
Yeah.
We did make a couple amendments for this round in light of some things that we saw with our first contractor. So we have an amendment process that is added for this contract specifically, and then a force majeure clause as well.
I just want to know,
Yeah,
so
it's got something.
will it, so when you do this though, with these other, then we can get it done faster and not have people wait for so long it can be done?
Well, we still have to follow our legal process in terms of notification under our ordinance, but this is for, we've provided notice, or we verified there's a violation, we provided notice, now we're ready to turn it over for cleanup. Then we would then go to one of our 3 contractors, ask for an estimate, and then if the estimate was all right, authorize the work.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions?
You did.
If not, do we have a motion?
Approval.
Second.
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote? Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Bam.
There being no,
He's got the email
there being no old business, does anybody in the room wish to make a public comment? If not, let's move to those on Zoom. I see we have one hand up. Cynthia Heckman.
Good morning, Dr. Cynthia Heckman Davis of 125 Gemini Lane, Walkerton. When will you, the Board of Commissioners, reappoint Dr. Jason Marker to the Board of Health? I know Dr. Marker is an excellent physician. He voted in the Republican primary last spring. Last week, he was elected president of the Board of Health by his peers on the Health Board, some of whom you appointed. He has been in the vice president position for 3 years and knows the job of Board of Health president. You already reappointed John Lynn, who was elected vice president of the Board of Health, and will be part of a good team with Dr. Marker. Please reappoint Dr. Marker to the Board of Health. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I think, is Tim. I'm sorry, I can't read the last name. Tim Colton?
Yeah, sorry, Tim Cotton, St. Joseph Libertarian Party. Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
All right, good. So first off, I'd like to thank the Board of Commissioners for practicing restraint during the last board meeting to delay the vote for discussing R-1-C-2023. I think that was a simple decision, and as a response, the county party has sent a letter of questions to the email address that you had requested. Part of that we sent in, we also sent in a list of some recommendations because of the questions and issues and problems that people sounded like they were having with the resolution. I believe the party has actually come up with some solutions for many of those problems and complaints. And I just wanted to make sure that you received a copy of this and you can enter it into the record.
We did receive your correspondence. Thank you. Anyone else online wish to make a comment?
Haj Patel, you have anything for us?
I'm good. Thank you, Commissioner Dieter.
There being no other public comments, do we have a motion to recess?
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote? Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Thank you.